Hello, my friends. It's Pier Carlo from the band Leva. I'm very glad to be here to talk to you. So let's do the questions. Leva is my family name. It's an Italian name that comes from my father. I'd seen other bands when I was young that were named after the leader, like Dio, Bon Jovi, Dawkins, Slaughter. It was then possible in my mind to do so. But I named the band like this also because I saw the opportunity to create something visual with the name like logos, merchandise. Even if my father didn't want, I use his name. What about Echimundus, our new album? I returned to the original sound or the trademark of the band, which is to sing in Latin since 2002. We are also a totally new lineup. Nadine Gertin, the soprano, Martin Tremblay on bass, and Claude Lacroix on drums. In 2015, when the former soprano and viola player Catherine Elvira Chartier left the band to concentrate on her classical career, I tried to work differently up until 2020. I was the only singer back at this time, so I worked a lot on higher register of my voice. I also started working with more keyboards in live performances to experiment with orchestration to replace the soprano melodic lines. The viola lines will also be found in these orchestration. And we found traces of this work in our latest album. I then want to work again with a soprano because it was a strong part of the band identity, and I had the Samson and Delilah project in mind since 2000, around 2008 2009. Then we found Nadine Gertin, a great addition to the band. She brings her own colors and ideas. With Echimundus, I think its extensive sonic explorations elevate the band's characteristic blend of power metal and classical music. Grand and elaborate orchestrations further open up this instrumental universe. Um, so we return in with Latin text, old text from medieval texts, and on themes from antiquity and others timeless. So, what about the lyrics on this release? Echimundus talks about the glory of Rome, the city of Rome, the story of Samson and Delilah, and some texts about human flaws such as greed, corruption, and hypocrisy. The same from ancient time to the present day. All this is propelled by a majestic orchestral music. What about art cover? It's a friend of mine, Patrick Bouchard. I think it's one of the most difficult part of an album. I want to mix between ancient Rome and the story of Samson and Delilah. I want to find a way for the image to be original with an antique texture and also be custom made. I want the cover to express one of the most important texts of the album, Samson and Delilah, but without telling the story too clearly. I worked on this with my brother-in-law for just the cover, but Patrick Bouchard works for all the conception of the album. So I work with my brother-in-law to find the right image. He's good. He's good at drawing. I think we found something very unique for the album. For the interior, I want to evoke ancient Rome even more. I even included a photo of a door I took myself in Rome. Still inside, I want to put our superb photo of the band, which I think is exceptional. We are so gorgeous, and the band looks great. Um, can you share insight into your cooperation with Stoke Records? So Stoke Records, it's pretty straightforward. I found it. I had found a distributor for the first album. So all we had is to do was form our own record label and register with the government. A purely administrative procedure. That's it. Um, live livelihood outside the music. Well, I'm constantly in music. I studied guitar, classical guitar. I play guitar for classical concert and for the band Liva, and I sell guitars in the store, in a music store. Guitar is all the way. I also running a classical music series in my hometown, Sherbrooke, Quebec, Canada. Um, when did you first discover your interest in metal music? I guess you could call it metal because it still sounds gigantic. It was when I bought the first Van Halen album. It hit me for life. I was around 8 years old. What obstacles have you faced as a musician, and how did you overcome them? Well, in the early 1990s, I injured my right shoulder and I couldn't play guitar for more than 5 minutes at time. It was psychologically hard enough to think about giving up the guitar. But music was what I want to do for a living. And it's a dream. It's also my dream when I was a young boy. And I had all the treatment I need to get through it after 4 years. Then my shoulder is still working perfectly. The other time was at the beginning of the band when I was looking for my style and artistic direction, and I was very discouraged. But one night after a show, Gorgot's first baseman Eric Giguère liked what I was doing and asked me if I had an album. I didn't because I didn't think I had anything interesting enough to offer on CD. At the time, it gave me an incredible boost of esteem to continue working on my talent as a composer. Thanks, Eric. If there's a specific non-metal genre or artist you'd love to collaborate with, I'm very much into electronic music, new age music, but we said now more electronica, and have been for years. So meeting a guy like Steve Roach would be quite a moment. If I can jam with Steve Roach, it will be very, very great for me. How do you perceive the evolution of metal music over the years? A very logical and beautiful evolution. Since Black Sabbath, metal music has been able to incorporate various external elements and create new hybrids. Leva is proof of that, because we are the first Canadian band to mix metal music with classical music. Okay, your thoughts on AI generated cover art. As I said, I found the album cover stage very difficult because I often have parts of ideas or concepts for the cover. But since I'm not a visual artist, I have to turn to a collaborator who will come up with what I have in mind. AI is a new tool that makes it possible to do research and come up with a wide variety of rough ideas, or even do the whole cover with AI. But you still need human intervention, because it's still a tool. On the other hand, I get the impression that the inventors of AI are also trying to replace human being, or the artist in this case. But with the advent of this very powerful form of tool, we now have to legislate, as in many other areas of human activity, because of copyright. First album you bought with your own money, the first Van Halen in cassette. Weird fan interaction you had. In 2005, after a sound check at the Club Soda in Montreal, we were walking on the sidewalk heading for dinner, and suddenly a guy threw himself at my feet on his knees, saying thanks for saving the future of metal in Quebec. I remember that. It was crazy, man. What was the worst job you ever had? Working in the strawberry field. Pick up the strawberries. My God. Favorite non-rock metal song? Okay. Are you ready? Never Gonna Give You Up, Rick Astley. I like this song. What are the future plans for Liva? We just released our first video clip as a band, Sanson and Delilah 1. So it's a great premiere for us. That was an important part of our plans for this year. I would like to make a concert with a full or symphonic orchestra, maybe next year, to enjoy all this work on orchestration with live musician and instruments. I would like to release Echemundus in vinyl edition also. It's very expensive, man. Of course, we were still playing live here, okay, but we hoping to play in Europe, in the States, in South America, Japan maybe. You never know, because there are so many good metal crowds over there, and some Leva fans over there. So thank you very much. LevaBand.com. Keep on metal alive.